You have a unique place in America's pop culture. We're going to put up on the screen everything that you're involved in.
Okay.
Look at this. You executive produce 11 different properties for NBC Universal.
Yes.
You have 2 separate channels on Sirius XM, including the aptly named Radio Andy, and you're about to release your 5th, count 'em, 5th book. Someone said, if you're not the architect of our celebrity culture, you're the ringmaster of our celebrity culture. Why do you think everything you do is so popular?
I think, listen, I think the Housewives initially, I owe a great deal of my success to these women and this show, which I think has replaced the modern soap opera in our TV landscape, or is the modern soap opera in our TV landscape. And so that's the place that I started, and I think that I've been able to connect with my audience in a way that's authentic and that is a real dialogue and somehow keeps the conversation keeps going, and I'm grateful for it.
All right, you talk about the Housewives, and that is your biggest franchise. I didn't realize this. You have 10.
I know.
10, all the way from New Jersey to Beverly Hills to Dubai.
Yes.
And here's a taste of some of the more viral moments.
Oh, God. So now you're going to show all of the wine tossing and table flipping.
Would I do that?
That's what you're going to do.
Let's take a look.
Okay, great. I love it.
I'm not talking to you.
And I'm talking
Shut
to
your
you.
f***ing mouth. I've had enough of you, you beast.
Beast?
Yeah.
How dare you?
How dare me?
Don't touch my husband ever.
Just saying.
Don't
you ever. You don't want out for everybody to know. You better watch what you talk about me, or everybody will know.
Never
Everybody
go
will
near
know.
my husband.
Everybody will know.
You understand that?
Everybody
Never
will
go
know.
after my husband.
Okay.
Now, I got to tell folks, while we're doing this, Andy is looking at this. He's going, okay. I mean, is that unrepresentative of Real Housewives?
It is a part of it. Yes, I would say. Listen, what you're looking at there was the climax of an entire season of the Housewives of Beverly
Well, we're not going to
Hills.
show the boring part.
Well, exactly. So all I'm saying is, yes, that happened. That was highly dramatic. That was highly charged. And when you get to that point, then you have 3 episodes of talking about what happened. I mean, it's all within the confines of the show. But so yes, that happened. What do you want to say to me about that, Chris?
Wow, talk about defensive.
I know, I am a little defensive.
Well,
yes.
A couple of things.
Okay.
First of all, is that for real or are they just playing?
They're not playing. It's for real. We cast highly dramatic women. Look, are they aware the cameras are there? Are they, and I think that the Beverly Hills Housewives, of all of them, are the most aware that they're on a television show. So, but yes, of course they're aware that the cameras are there. And, but come to a reunion taping sometime, Chris, and you will see that they feel the way they feel. They just happen to feel things maybe stronger than your neighbor next door.
Well, it's interesting that you should mention the Real Housewives reunions because we have a clip of that.
Good.
And
this I feel good about.
Okay, you do feel better about that.
Now, listen,
Well, okay,
I feel
well,
good about all of it. And I love the Housewives.
Okay.
I did just get defensive because it seemed like a layup that you were going to show. I thought it was going to be a montage of wine tosses, but
Okay.
Okay.
Real Housewives.
Yes, we're going to see
Which
a
you
reunion.
host.
Yes.
This is the reunion, and sometimes you get caught in the crossfire.
Okay, this is going to be season 2. Teresa Giudice pushing me, I think.
Now Kelly's in tears because you've said that she uses cocaine and that she's not a good mother.
I didn't say she's not a good mother. That's not what I said, Andy.
I said, I don't think that he's good for you.
How do you know what's good for me?
That's my opinion!
She was so nasty and so rude
I
that don't
and
ever bring
so
anybody
rude.
around me like that.
So nasty.
And that's what happened.
So rude.
I was fired.
No.
You you are a piece of garbage.
Well, you nailed it.
Yes, I knew that.
Well, do you
was
think this is
gonna-
low-hanging fruit that we're taking
A little
here?
bit. No, look, it's all good. I love the show. I could watch those clips forever.
Well, one of your books is titled Superficial, which
Yes.
is not my opinion. That's
Yes.
your title for it. Another book is a deep look at a shallow year.
Yes.
Are you at all embarrassed by what you do?
No. I'm really not, because it makes so many people happy. I go back to me being in St. Louis as a kid watching All My Children for years and years and years. And I loved All My Children. It was just the great escape for me. And I think that this show represents that for a whole lot of people. And I think it can be really confrontational. It can sometimes be something that's a little difficult to swallow, but I think it's also about, in the real great moments, it's about being a wife and a mother and a sister and a friend and a whole lot more. So yes, there's all that, and then there's a whole lot more. And I think, by the way, if it was only that, it wouldn't still be on the air, and we wouldn't have 10 going. It's very funny, too.
You talk about the fact, and you're right, that there are 10 going. Millions of people want to watch every one of these shows.
Yes.
Why do you think? Why do they love watching rich people behave badly?
I think we love judging human behavior as a society. We're all in the middle of judging Prince Harry right now and Meghan Markle. We love judgment. This is a society based on judginess. This show is a way that you can judge people that you think you know, totally guilt-free and totally without any repercussion. And I've talked to so many mothers and daughters who say, we fight about everything except the housewives. It's the only thing that we can sit and talk about and have fun talking about. And I think there are so many friend groups and families who feel the same way. And I absolutely love it. I stand by it. I'm not embarrassed by it. I think when I'm sitting across from you, the reason I get defensive is I don't think you watch the show. And so
I watched one season of
New York?
of New York because I knew several of the people on that.
Oh, really?
Yes. Speaking of judging and speaking of Real Housewives, how's this for a segue?
Yeah.
Jennifer Shah,
yes,
who was a member of the Salt Lake City Real Housewives series, was just sentenced to 6.5 years in prison for defrauding thousands of victims in a telemarketing scheme. Now, you're on the record last November as saying that you hope she would get no jail time. And the question I have is, why would you take her side against the thousands of people she defrauded, including a lot of elderly?
I think I was hoping that she was actually innocent. I wouldn't have.
She pleaded guilty.
That was before she pled guilty. I mean, that I said that, I would think.
No, I think it was after.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, God. Anyway, wow, this is fun.
You were easy to crack there.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly. Look, I think that I don't know what the context of me saying that was, but I think that the context was people kept demanding of me, what is her status with the show? And I'm like, it's up to the judge. She's about to get sentenced to a lot of jail time.
I know, but you're saying she did something bad.
Yes, she did. And so she should go to jail. I was saying, look, sometimes if you get to know someone and you get to like them, you hope that they are not guilty of something horrible.
In 1999, you write your first cookbook, The Barefoot Contessa. I mean, for someone who you're not a professional cook. You haven't had any real training.
Yeah.
What did you think as to where you were?
I wanted to do something other than the store. I sold the store to my employees. I built myself an office. I had nothing to do. And literally at the end of the year, I was just like, I have to think of something to do while I figure out what to do. And everybody had asked me to write a cookbook. And I thought, it's not interesting. I don't know why I want to do it, but at least I'll have something to do tomorrow. And so I wrote a proposal, sent it to the top editor at the top cookbook publisher, thinking I'll never hear from them. And a week later, I had a contract to write a book, and I was like, okay, what do I do now? So I kind of jump off a cliff and figure it out. And once I had the contract, I said to myself, okay, if you're going to do it like it's a new business and do it in a way that would be successful. If you're going to do it as well as you can.
And what does that mean?
Everybody said that publishers don't publicize new cookbooks, so I hired my own publicist. It means that I didn't want the publisher to tell me what the book would look like. I hired my own photographer. I didn't want the publisher to tell me what the food should look like, so I hired my own food stylist. So I basically financed this like it was a new business. I invested in it, and I had total control over it. And I think looking back now, I was right, because publishers tend to want to write the book that was successful last year. And that's exactly the book I didn't want to write.
It ends up becoming so successful, it's a bestseller, and the Food Network comes after you to start your own show. And for a good period of time,
Year and
you
a
say
half.
no.
I say lose my number. I didn't think that anybody would want to watch me on TV. I didn't know what they saw. And
Why didn't you think?
I don't know. I just couldn't. I'd never done TV, and I just couldn't imagine that. I mean, it was the era of Nigella Lawson was on TV, and she was so sexy, and the spaghetti, and it's just. I just thought that's not who I am. But they were very persistent, and they found a producer whose work I liked, and they called and said, we hired them, they're coming to your house in 2 weeks. And I was like, whoa, I didn't say I was going to do it. And they said, just do a few shows and see how it goes.
You've had your show in the Food Network for 20 years. How would you describe how you have built your brand over these last 2 decades?
One of the things I do, I don't have a grand plan. I really just do what I love to do. I get up in the morning, I think, what do I feel like doing today? And I think, I feel like testing recipes. And so that's what I do. And in the middle, I do a little TV because I think it's important for people to know how to do something. I mean, it's one thing to read a recipe on a page, but it's another thing to see somebody actually do it.
Are you really saying, because I think you're somewhat underselling yourself, are you really saying that all of this just happened? There must at various points have been some thought about.
I would say every 20 years, I get incredibly bored. And I just go, okay, I have to change all of this. If I wake up in the morning and I'm not a little scared about how this is going to work out, I'm not happy. So in that sense, I don't have a grand plan, but every 20 years I rethink what I'm doing so that I feel like I'm totally invested and totally committed to something that's a little scary.
I think it is fair to say that you are the Jeopardy GOAT, the greatest of all time. Back in 2004, you won 74 straight games, still the record. Including special Jeopardy tournaments, you won, in all the games you played, $4.37 million. And here you are in the 2020 Jeopardy greatest of all time against James Holzhauer and Brad Rutter. Take a look.
Ken.
What is Omu?
Good. James.
With Sarah Silverman.
Correct. Brad.
It was Rudy Ray Moore.
Yes.
He had 44,000. Did he come up with Iago? He did not. And it doesn't matter, your wager, 44,000. Ken Jennings!
That's the best you are the champion!
How sweet was that?
I couldn't believe it. I came into that. I had told them I didn't want to do that tournament because I said I'm too old. I've lost a step. I had watched James Holzhauer play on TV, just crushing, force of domination. Nobody stood a chance. And I thought, put me out to pasture. This guy's the new hotness. And I caught some breaks. I got lucky. James missed a few clues. And I got away with one there, and I could not believe my good luck.
Am I crazy, or is there a bit of an edge in your rivalry not with Rutter, but with James Holzhauer or Jeopardy James? It seems like that's a little bit of an edge there.
The thing you have to understand about James is he decided at one point in preparing for the show that Jeopardy needed a villain, I think. He's a pro wrestling fan, and he understands that it makes a game exciting when the audience has a rooting interest. And he puts on this persona as an over-the-top, larger-than-life villain. I think in real life we get along great. I've had dinner with his family. His daughter is lovely. His wife is lovely. So for TV, we are mortal Jeopardy enemies, and he likes playing that up. I'm a little less comfortable with the wrestling kayfabe, I think he calls it.
I want to ask you about something you said, that you're a little older, you've lost a step. I think that's true, not about you, but just in general,
Yeah.
Just in your regular life, you don't retrieve facts quite as quickly. It might be a millisecond when you get older. Do you agree with that?
I noticed it in myself, maybe because I make my living retrieving facts quickly.
Right.
And even in my 30s, suddenly I was like, whoa, like I used to know this. What is the capital of Slovenia? Hold on. And most people, the capital of Slovenia doesn't come up, or they can say, wait a second. But on Jeopardy, you can't say, hey, Alex, I turned 40 last year. Can you give me a second? There's definitely a drop-off.
What is the capital of Slovenia?
I don't know. Let's see, Ljubljana, I think.
Okay. Well, I don't know. Our audience is quickly looking
Somebody's
to say.
Googling to be like, he's wrong.
There is one difference between you and me. And I don't want you to feel bad about this, but I need to show you a clip of me on Celebrity Jeopardy a few years ago. Take a look.
Did you get Gone with the Wind?
I did have to do the adding. It didn't come so quickly, but I did pick Gone with the Wind.
And you risked $3,400, and that takes you up to $50,000, not just $22,800. $50,000 for Hope for the Warriors. Congratulations.
I have been waiting so much to show this to you. I am an undefeated Jeopardy champion.
Wow. There's very few, right? Are you 1-0 lifetime?
Yes, exactly. I didn't. You think I was going to go back and do that again?
You were
after?
Retired, undefeated,
Yes,
drop the buzzer?
And yes, as you might have seen there, I schooled Dr. Oz. I do have one thing to say about this, however. I did an interview with Alex Trebek, who was the host then. And in the course of the interview, I said, so honestly, Alex, do you dumb it down for Celebrity Jeopardy? And he looked at the camera and he went, but I did prepare like everybody does before Jeopardy. And I mean, I even had a big loose leaf notebook, Operation Trebek, that I had my researcher do. And I want to ask you a few questions about it. One is the buzzer.
Yes.
How important is the buzzer in success in Jeopardy?
It's often the key to the game because, you know, we're not The Price is Right. We're not bringing random people up there. We're bringing Chris Wallace. Damn it. You know, we find smart people. And everybody there could pass the same difficult test to be there. And that means often the margin of victory is just reflexes. And it's tricky. You can't buzz, as you know, you can't buzz as soon as you know the correct response. You have to wait for the host to finish reading the question, the clue. At that point, the buzzers are activated. And if you buzz early, you get locked out. And of course, if you're too late, you get beat by your competitors. So there's a very narrow window you're trying to find.
So, question. Why is it that you don't let people just buzz in as soon as they know?
In the old Art Fleming show in the 60s, that's exactly how it worked. And they tried it for the first year of the Alex Trebek revival in 1984. What happened was that people would just buzz in immediately and then try to read the clue while the host finished reading. And sometimes they would get it, and sometimes they would just stand there dumbly when Alex came to them, and it was not good TV. So we added the delay.
It absolutely is a key because you have to sit and wait and then time it. It has to be exactly after you finish reading the clue.
Yeah, the rhythms of the host's voice are very important. And I almost think that was my secret sauce coming into Jeopardy, as I had been watching Alex since I was 10 years old, and I knew how he would say every clipped syllable in the clue I was reading. And then I knew what the rhythm would be. And for whatever reason, I just fell right into it.
Okay. What is your strategy on betting on Daily Doubles and Final Jeopardy?
This is the thing that James Holzhauer really changed about the game. You know, he brought a sports gambler's sense of analytics. He had run the numbers and realized that Daily Doubles historically have like a very high completion percentage, like 80% conversion on Daily Doubles, whereas Final Jeopardy is much harder, 50%. So what you want to do is get your chips on the table for those Daily Doubles. Find them at all costs and make big wagers then, so the game is put away later. And to this day, we see people trying to play James's strategies, and some of them are very good and it works. And if you're not James Holzhauer,
I was going to
sometimes
say, if you don't know the answer, it doesn't
matter.
One thing I never understand about the Daily Double is somebody is behind, and now it's the Daily Double, and they could take the lead, and they don't take the lead. They don't bet. And it always strikes me that you got to go into Final Jeopardy in the lead, because if you don't know the answer, you're probably going to lose anyway. But if you do know the answer with the lead, you
can't lose.
You can't lose.
In general, I think you're right. People bet too conservatively, particularly on Daily Doubles. And I think it's because they're not used to that sum of money. You know, in real life, you rarely have to tell someone, yeah, I'll risk the price of a car on a single trivia question. Why not, you know? And James realized that's not what's going on at all. You have to ignore the amount of money. This is house money right now. These are numbers on a board. You got to do the mathematically correct thing and not what feels like a safe financial decision.
In his memoir, the late Alex Trebek talks about your streak and specifically the day after 74 victories that you lost. Take a look.
There was definitely a sadness. I had tears in my eyes. It just all happened so quickly. Ken lost. I said something like, Ken, you're going away with a lot of money. And to the viewers at home, we'll see you tomorrow. The show ended. I remember thinking, Ken's gone, my buddy, my pal. This was getting to be the Ken and Alex show.
I have to say, you're great. I think you're a great host. But Alex Trebek, you know, if you were the GOAT of contestants, he was the goat of hosts.
Yeah.
And when I listen to him and his voice, that gets me a little choked up. How close did you and Alex become?
I mean, the funny thing is the contestants on Jeopardy are kept so far away from the host or anybody else who might know game material. It's for legal reasons.
Right.
You know, it's
right.
a
like
federal
the quiz
crime.
show scandal of the 50s.
Exactly. It's now a federal crime to rig Jeopardy. So we're very careful. But the fact is, if you're on the show for 74 times, which I recommend, by the way, you do kind of get the sense of Alex. And he was clearly enjoying having a sidekick for the first time in 20 odd years of Jeopardy. This was new territory for them, and he was enjoying it. And I really started to appreciate watching him up close and the grace with which he hosted that show, because he made it look so easy that I don't think the audience knows how difficult it is to host Jeopardy. You're doing everything the players are, but you're also contextualizing it for the audience. You're trying to make the horse race exciting. You're adjudicating tough calls like an umpire. There's a lot going on. And I think the only reason I can, I'll never be Alex, but the only reason I can even approximate it is because I got to watch the best in the business do it for almost 40 years.
As you host the show and as you stand at that table where Alex stood, how often do you think to yourself in a situation in that split second, what would Alex do?
It's always in my head. It helps because you're always kind of saying the phrases he would say. All right, let's hope that wager works out for you. You can't not hear his smooth Canadian tones. And that really, really helps. It's almost like he's still there. We've renamed it the Alex Trebek stage.
I know, and I love when you say it because you say it with a certain sense of pride and reverence, frankly.
I mean, that's kind of what it is. We kind of feel like Jeopardy would not exist. It would not be what it was without him. He and the show kind of grew up together and they shaped each other.
Of course, most people know you as the host of Top Chef, and we have some clips from over the years. Take a look.
Mm-hmm. Today's quickfire challenge is simple. Create a mouth-watering, filling entree. But there's a catch. You can't cook any of it.
Sylvia, I didn't really understand your whole dish. Once I put the lemon sauce on it, I almost thought I was having a dessert.
I really love buck soup. So refreshing. I was wondering about the lack of protein, but I think the avocado works beautifully as a creamy element.
Just make it yummy. Maybe chocolate chippies. Could they go already?
Your cookie quickfire starts now! I love that episode.
So why do you think Top Chef has been so popular for so long?
I think it's because of the contestants. I think they're the real stars of our show. And I think it's because everyone has very, very fully formed opinions about food. You don't have to be a food professional to really be passionate about food or know what you really like or don't. And it's very compelling to see people be so anxious and strive so hard to be the best at their craft.
I want to talk about the contestants because the few times that I've seen chefs, not on TV, but in real life at work, they are so creative under such punishing conditions. I mean, it's hot, it's sweaty, it's crowded in these kitchens.
There's knives, there's fire, yeah.
Exactly. I mean, you got to be kind of a mad genius, don't you?
Yes. I mean, to a certain extent, yes. There is a personality type. I think it's wonderful. It's a science and art that is very transitory because it's new every day. I make a meal for you, and in half an hour, it's going to be gone. There's no proof of it except the experience and hopefully pleasure that it invoked in you. And so that's what I find exciting, that every new meal is a new day. And it's not always the best chef that wins Top Chef. It's the guy or the woman who did the best that day. It's sort of like the best team not necessarily wins the World Series, right? So it's very compelling to watch. I think it's always compelling to see people strive to be the best at what they do.
Over the years, you have hosted TV cooking shows, you've written several cookbooks. How important is food, not just to nourish the body, but to nourish the soul?
I think it's important in every facet of our lives. And I think it's huge. It's a political issue as well. I think it's an economic issue, obviously, and it is something that's so emotional. I mean, there's a biological reason for that because most of our sense of taste is actually our sense of smell, and where our olfactory senses located in the amygdala in the brain, is actually very close to where emotional memory is also located. So that's why food is so important and so deep and so important and just resonates with all of us. And we all have such really visceral ties to food. We all need to eat. Every creature on the planet eats to survive. But we also, the only two things you need in life really are food and love. That's it.
You've hosted The Price is Right now for 17 years, and you say the main attraction isn't you, it isn't the prizes, it's the contestants.
Yeah.
And here's an example.
Absolutely.
Oh my God!
You say that's the show's secret sauce.
It's average people on the show. Like, you don't see CEOs, executives, management, white collar,
right?
Normally,
right?
Or if they are, they're middle management or something. But that's the kind of people we have on the show. Regular people watch the show, and they want to see somebody like them having a day. So hopefully you watch Price is Right and you see somebody that you can relate to, and like, oh, that's my neighbor, that's like my coworker, that's like me or my sister, brother. And isn't this fun to watch them have a day? And that, to me, is the whole secret of the whole show.
The games are also fun, and I guess the most famous game on The Price is Right is Plinko.
I don't get, honestly.
Well, we'll give you an opportunity. Here is a case of Plinko with a special guest, Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, yeah.
Now you want to come, you want to drop it right around in here.
10,000 right in the middle.
Yeah, right up in there.
10,000 in the middle, here we go. 10,000 in the middle. 10,000 in the middle, 10,000 in the middle, 10,000 in the middle, 10,000 in the middle, 10,000 in the middle.
So I have a question. First of all, why don't you get the appeal of Plinko?
People usually don't win that much money on Plinko. They'll win like $1,500, a couple grand, something like that. Hardly anybody gets at 10,000 because they drop it. But Snoop was right. When we got him on the show, he's actually a huge fan of the show and watches it all the time. So you have to drop it like right under the N. If you're ever on The Price is Right, drop it right under the N, not too high, just like right above the slot, and just let it go. Don't throw it, don't spin it, just drop it. And that'll give you the best odds of hitting the $10,000 spot. You won't hit it all the time, but that'll give you the best odds. You might hit a couple zeros. But people they'll drop it on this side, and it'll be too short, then they'll drop it on that side. And I'm not allowed to say anything, but in my head, I want to scream, just drop it by the end. I can't do that.
What's the mistake people make in terms of guessing the prices of various...
So here's a common thing. Normally, there's no repeating numbers in the price of a car. So it'll never be 21-1 something,
right?
Or 2101, like
right.
the one, like forget that one. So a lot of it's just strategy like that. We have a game called 10 Chances where the first prize has 2 numbers in it, and we give you 3 numbers to choose from, but the price always ends in 0. But I'm not allowed to say it. I said I'm allowed to say there's a secret to the game, and if you can figure it out, you'll have a better chance of winning. So that in the first one, you have 2 chances. You should get it in 2 at the most, because they end in 0, and there's 2 other numbers to choose from. And the next one you should get in 3 at the most, and that'll give you 5 more chances to get the price of the car. That should be a game where people just kill it every time. But not everybody knows it ends in 0, so they'll put a 3 at the end or a 2, and I'm just...
So do you realize that our audience...
Yeah, I hope they know.
You're going to be able to, if I do nothing else for you on this show, get on The Price is Right and listen to what you've just heard.
Yeah, I'm giving you a lot of insider tips.
Since you started on the Food Network, how many, you don't have to list them because
Right.
it'll really make me feel bad, how many series have you had?
I know all the people you've interviewed in your career, so I am in awe of that. I was watching the highlight reel and just looking at it going, okay. Let's see, I started off with a little show called Guy's Big Bite. That was the beginning of it. I won a show called The Next Food Network Star, which was kind of like the American Idol back in the day. I won that, and then I got a chance to do my first cooking show, Guy's Big Bite. It was a terrible little set. They put no money into the budget. I did a couple little spin-off things where they try to show here and try to show there. And I wasn't finding what I really wanted to do. And when we found Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, being a chef and a restaurant owner myself, I said, wait a second. This is something that can help all these mom and pop joints around the country, now around the world. We've shot Triple D around the world. And this is something I really want to do.
And how do you explain, and I'm asking you to kind of analyze yourself, how do you explain your broad appeal, you know, and sometimes it's a one-hit wonder or something is hot for years now? Thank you for the plug for the...
I love that you have complimentary, free, beautiful, gold-plated mugs that come with the show.
Wait a minute.
You know, I don't know what it exactly is. And I remember when I first got on the Food Network, and I was one of the first guys with tattoos, and definitely didn't have the same look that most of the folks had. And I wasn't trying to come in and be something different. I was just who I am. I'm a guy from Northern California, cook, have one restaurant, wanted to be a dad. I'm a dad of 2 great boys, Hunter and Ryder. And I just came in and did what I did. And if it was going to be accepted, great. If it wasn't, then I still was doing what I wanted to do, which was,
But why do you think people have accepted it, bought in, like it, want to see more?
I think because when I run into somebody on the street, I look like one of their buddies or cousins or guys they went to college with or some dude they knew. I'm nobody, I mean, what you see is what you get. I put on a collared shirt for you. I was in a t-shirt when I got here.
Okay.
You know, so I think that it's maybe that appeal. I drive a Chevy. I'm into rock and roll. I'm into what I say is what I mean. I mean, it's just, it's kind of I have an all-American attitude. I'm a huge patriot. Huge patriot. My foundation is the Guy Fieri Foundation. Our whole thing is about serving first responders, veterans, current military, you know. So I think maybe it's that stuff.
So you talked about starting out, and you're exactly right. As people are going to see, this wasn't put on for TV. This is who you were. You start out in 2005 auditioning for a show called The Next Food Network Star. Let's take a look at your audition. Here it is.
Oh, boy.
Today I'm going to prepare a dish for you, not in fusion, but in confusion. I'm going to do a gorgonzola tofu sausage terrine that will be served over a mildly poached ostrich egg. Now, since we're in the wine country, I'll be serving that on grape nuts, and done with a delicious pickled herring mousse right on top. And, oh, I know, delicious. It sends shivers up my spine. No, seriously, folks, real food for real people, that's the idea.
That really says it all, right? Real food for real people.
One take.
Really?
That was ad lib. I was 100% smartass. I didn't really honestly.
Well, that hasn't changed so much over the years.
I'll tell you what it was. I had a couple buddies of mine, a buddy named Rob and another buddy of mine named Mustard. And they were both the ones who were really telling me I needed to try out for the show. And I'm like, I don't want to try out for the show. I'm happy doing what I'm doing. And I really didn't have an interest of going onto a show. You know, I'd never even really watched a lot of TV because I work. I'm a chef. I own restaurants. And so I did it. And I thought, I'll just make it so, you know, out there that there's no way they'll take it. And sure enough, they took it. But
you realize how perfect it was because you took everything that people think of with food and the quail egg and all of that, and you just flipped it and said, hey, you know all those things? I'm the opposite.
And that's exactly what it was. And I've said it in a way, and I don't have any disparaging comments or attitudes about people and the way they want to do their food. Do whatever you want to do. I'm not a food critic. I'm a cook. I'm a guy that goes around and checks out mom and pop joints. If I don't like it, you won't see it on a show. I don't lie. I'm not telling people, oh, come see this place. And then people are like, how much do you spit out? Never spit any of it out. It's just not the way it is. I mean, I'm just, I'm not a TV guy. I wasn't.
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't.
Yeah. How many series did you say? Yeah, you're not a TV guy. No. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe to CNN's YouTube channel so you never miss the best of my conversations. And you can catch the full interviews of Who's Talking streaming right now on Max.